When I ask leaders, what's the biggest challenge with navigating your workload? Typically, the themes I hear are around prioritization, managing time, managing distractions, and staying focused, staying organized, overwhelmed with the volume of work, unrealistic expectations, and interruptions. My goal in the next several minutes is to provide you with some practical strategies that you can implement back in your work, knowing you're not going to implement all of these right away. Think about what your biggest challenge is, and then which of these solutions I'm about to share is best going to minimize or eliminate that challenge. My name is Jen Rekla. I have worked in the learning and organizational development space for many years, leading the learning function in healthcare, nonprofit, and public sector. I now have my own leadership coaching and consulting practice focused on supporting nonprofit senior leaders. And this is what I hear the most from leaders I work with. I don't have time. It is the number one complaint. And let's face it, this is probably the number one complaint of individuals across positions in every work setting. It is hard to get the best out of yourself and others if you don't have time. We've got to create more bandwidth, more than just space on our calendar, but the mental capacity to continue to grow. So think about this. How much time do you want to reclaim each week? And what do you want to do with that time? So let's say you choose 4 hours. What are you going to do with those 4 hours? It's important for you to identify that. You need a compelling reason to want this time back. That's why it's important to know. Is it to spend more time with your family? Are there certain projects in your work that you want to spend more time on? Is it your own development that you want to spend more time on? Is it to walk outside more? Choose that item or items that you want to use that extra time for. And think about, what's my relationship with time? Is it a friend or foe? Am I controlling it, or is it controlling me? What is the mindset that I have going into this? Do I look at time as abundant, or do I look at it as scarce? And then am I focusing on importance when I'm looking at the items that I have, when I'm prioritizing, or am I focused on urgency? Having a positive relationship with time, leaning towards an abundance mindset, and focusing on what matters most first will increase the effectiveness of the strategies I'm going to talk about next. First, we need to get organized. We do this by capturing and clarifying our work. Then we ensure we have control over our environment as much as we can by managing our distractions. But how do we sustain success? It's easier to do this when we aren't stressed, when we feel like we're thriving. But I'm overwhelmed now. I can't think clearly. So to sustain success, we need to build and strengthen our resiliency. So I'm going to share some quick tips for each of these for you. When it comes to getting organized, I want you to think about, how am I currently capturing all my to-do items? You want these to be simple, accessible. You want them to be easy to use and reliable. I like to use email, a checklist that's attached to my email, and my calendar. Those are the three things that I use to just capture all of my to-do items. And I'll say the calendar is the most important, because if it's not scheduled, it's not going to happen. So you got to put it on your calendar. Select the tools that are going to work for you, but the fewest amount as possible. And then the rest, delete them. Then you want to clarify what's most important. I like using the Eisenhower matrix for this. It helps you identify what's really urgent and what's really important. If it's a crisis, it's important and it's urgent, right? It's aligned with our goals. It's aligned with what our customers need. And I need to stop what I'm doing right now to do it. Now, where we should be spending most of our time is not in this space. We should be spending most of our time in that second category, the planning piece. It's important, but it's not necessarily urgent. I can plan for it. This is all about relationship development. This is growing. This is prepping for items. This is being strategic. It all falls in that space. And then the other two categories on the bottom, if it's not important, we really should be minimizing our time in this space as much as possible. So I like using this tool to clarify. And I'll say one of the items that gets us into this urgency mode first thing in the morning is opening up our email and starting to go through that. Instead, set your Outlook, set your Gmail, whatever email system you use, set it to open your calendar view first. Then take 2 minutes to map out your day, review your task list. What do you have to accomplish? What's not as urgent or important that can be moved or eliminated? Then either take 30 minutes to accomplish one of your big to-do items or start sorting your email. But don't go to that email first, go to the calendar first. How do you manage your distractions? They're everywhere. People stopping by your queue, the instant messages, the emails, the texts coming in, the squirrel moment. Here are 3 tips that I have for you. These are my 3 top controlling your environment strategies. Block time on your calendar to do focused work, not just for meetings, but if there's empty space, block it so that you have time to get work done. Pause and batch your emails. I only look at my emails twice a day. The rest of the time, they are paused. I love an app called Boomerang for that. Highly recommend. And then silence all your notifications. Silence that cell phone. Silence your Slack channel or your Teams, whatever those notifications are. Silence them because they're just going to distract you. And then, how do I sustain success? What techniques can I use to practice self-care and strengthen resiliency? Number 1 is all about boundaries. Conduct a boundary audit. Identify where your needs are not being met, where you're getting the most stress, the most overwhelm. What boundary do I need to set? And then communicate that with others and follow up with individuals if it's not being met. Make sure that you honor those boundaries you create. Practice saying no more. When you say yes to something, you're automatically saying no to something else. So for the next 30 days, look at your calendar and nope one thing a week. What's a meeting that you don't add value to? What's a project that isn't kicking off for another month? We can move that meeting. What's something that's scheduled for an hour that we can discuss in 20 minutes? What's a social gathering that isn't an absolute yes for me right now? And then finally, practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of creating space for ourselves, space to think, space to breathe, and space between ourselves and our reactions. Learn to savor and appreciate being present. This could be things like yoga or meditation or grounding exercises, but put mindfulness practices into your regular day to day to help you strengthen that resiliency, strengthen that mental toughness. Now, you may not be able to control all the things that are coming in, but you can control how you respond and navigate through the work. Get real about your relationship with time. What mindset might be holding me back in this space? Is it the scarcity piece? Is it focusing on urgency first? Have a system in place that works for you to capture all of your responsibilities and to-dos. Create time to then clarify those tasks, what's most important and urgent. Silence those notifications. Your email, batch that email. And if you can't turn it off, follow the 2-minute rule. Can I respond to this in 2 minutes or less? If yes, do it now. If not, schedule a time later to do it. And please take care of yourself, get sleep, practice mindfulness, and set those healthy boundaries for yourself. This is a journey, it's an investment in yourself, and the rewards can be amazing. Following these practices myself for the last 15 years, it's led to higher engagement on teams I've led and better results for teams I've coached and taught over time. I hope to see you in a future video. Thank you.